All right, so we're going to talk about some of the properties of inverses, things that are true and not true. Here is a theorem from our textbook, and what this is basically saying is all the statements have to be true. So if one is true, they're all true. If one is false, they're all false. So A is invertible, meaning A inverse exists. A is row equivalent to the identity matrix. That means that if you were to change this to the identity matrix, then you can get that inverse matrix. A has n pivot positions, so we don't have any empty rows or columns, which also means the columns are linearly independent. Look at D and E here. Okay, all of those are from chapter 1. We're kind of pulling them back together. The linear transformation from x to ax is 1 to 1. We know that x has at least one solution for every b. We know that the columns of A are going to span Rn. We know that the linear transformation maps Rn onto Rn. And there is going to be some matrix C such that C times A equals I, and that means that it's the identity matrix. There's also some matrix D such that A times D equals I. Well, if that's the case, then that's the identity matrix. And A transpose is also invertible. So this is really important because it only applies to square matrices. Okay, we're not going to look at a 4 by 3. Even if they're linearly independent, we can't do anything here because we wouldn't have the pivot columns, right? So this is also, we cannot use this theorem to include anything about existence or non-existence to the solution, just at least one solution for each B, okay? All right, so let's use this to say like, hey, is A invertible? Well, the thing we can do is be like, well, do I have pivot columns in every column? So if I take -3 row 1 and add to row 2 and put that back in row 2, and if I take 5 row 1 and add that to row 3 and put it back into row 3, then let's see what I get. I get 0, 1, 4. I get 0, -1, and -10 plus 9, -1. And then let's add row 2 and row 3 and put that into row 3. Okay, I have pivot columns in every single place. I have pivot rows. Okay, I have n3 pivots, so we are good. A inverse exists. So that's one way to check to see if you actually have an inverse, especially because the determinants of bigger than 2 by 2 matrices are a little bit yucky. This is a little bit nicer to be able to check it really quickly this way. Okay, a couple of other things about inverses. So we do know that when a matrix is invertible, then you can take A inverse and multiply it by A. Well, that means that we get IX, which is just X. So essentially, graphically, if you have some space X and you transform it by a matrix A, so AX to get over here, but then you apply A inverse of AX, then you get directly back to X. Again, we're going to go Rn to Rn, okay? And we say that that linear transformation is invertible if there is another function S where this is true. So S, if you take T of X, and then you apply here, you'll get back to X, then we're good, or vice versa is true. And it must be true that S is then the inverse of T. Here's just another way to say it here in Theorem 9. So if we have a transformation from Rn to Rn, and A is the standard matrix, meaning T of X equals AX, okay, then T is invertible if and only if A is invertible. And if that's the case, then we can say that S of X is that inverse matrix.